Welcome back to the NRW Virtual Investor Conference. I'm Andrew Gagan from Ausbiz. Great to have your company. Today we're talking to Mobilicom. It is an Israel-based technology company focused on the delivery of smart solutions and cybersecurity for global drone, robotics, and autonomous system manufacturers. It has a patented technology using mobile mesh networking, commercializing a range of solutions that have competitive advantages, including outstanding security capabilities and performance in harsh environmental conditions. And Mobilicom recently announced a new go-to-market strategy that will see it identify a target potential customers, selling drones and robotics platforms into market segments and verticals, including mining, security and surveillance, infrastructure, inspection, delivery, defence, and first responders. Well, just a reminder, if you'd like to ask questions, please head to the tab, the Q&A panel on your screen, and submit your questions there, and they will be answered after the presentation by Oren Elkayam, Chief Executive of Mobilicom. Oren, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to start the presentation and actually show you what Mobilicom is all about. So Mobilicom is an end-to-end provider of cybersecurity and smart solutions for drones, robotics, and autonomous platform. This is the company essence. We are traded in the ASX from 2017. The company has submitted and granted tens of patent claims in the US office, the patent office. Based on those patents, Mobilicom developed more than 10 different products. Those products are already in the market and fully used by customers worldwide, so they are field proven. We have a range of customers, including defense and governments and tier one companies that are using our products, both hardware and software, in their systems. And we have a very clear competitive edge over others. First and most important, those are the reference customers that we are having. Then we have a high security solution that stands out if you compare it to the others in the market, and therefore is used by governments in different operations. And more importantly, we are guaranteeing outstanding performance when the environments are very harsh. Those advantages are a key contributor to the selection of Mobilicom by those tier one providers. We are operating in a large and growing markets. The market of opportunity for Mobilicom is the drone, robotics, and autonomous platforms market, which is just now showing the beginning of the hockey stick curve and ramp up, and very exciting for our company and its solution. Let's dive into the details and understand more about Mobilicom itself. When we are saying Mobilicom is an end-to-end provider of cybersecurity and smart solutions for drones, robotics, and autonomous platform, what do we mean by that? What is the company offering and revenue model? I would like to use the analogy from the car or automotive industry. In the car or automotive industry, we know all Audi and Mercedes and BMW, those are the platform, the car manufacturers. Much like in our industry, the drone manufacturers, robotic manufacturers, and platform manufacturers. But the giants behind the scene in the car and automotive industry are the tier one providers that provide end-to-end offering of the core technologies that are within the car. Those are companies like Delphi, Bosch, Continental, such like $50 billion and up companies that are controlling the technology assets and the critical components, the main components that are the value of the vehicle. Much like in our industry, Mobilicom is set to be the end-to-end provider of those key components in the drones, robotics, and autonomous platform. If we are taking a look on the wide portfolio of Mobilicom offering, we can see that on the left side, we have hardware elements. We are well known for our networking, mobile mesh networking, and data link hardware devices. Those are enabling drone platform manufacturer to embed them inside for the drone and robotics control, telemetry sharing with the operator, and sharing live video feeds and other sensors to users and systems operating them in real time or offline. Those devices we have different devices, all in the market. All of them are certified by international standards like FCC in the United States, C in Europe, and TELEC in Asia Pacific, and we are sold worldwide already. Starting from 75 grams for small miniature platforms with ranges of several kilometers to 2.5 kilos for larger platforms that can go up to 100 kilometers in distance. In addition to that, in the recent years, we've launched the mobile control terminal market. Those segments of those markets in the left bottom corner are the consoles, electronic consoles with tablets and software that enable you to control the missions of the drone and robotics. We have already 6 elements in this portfolio of solutions, and we managed to lock significant deals with leaders in the market and already collect significant backlogs of millions of dollars for those mobile terminals. In fact, the ramp up that we are experiencing in the recent months led to the position that Mobilicom established manufacturing capacity in Asia Pacific to meet the increasing demand. The hardware devices that we are selling on the left side are sold for a high gross margin of 65 to 70% of the market of a gross margin, and that is very steep in comparison to 40%, which is irregular in the market. In the middle, you will find the core SaaS model solutions that Mobilicom is going to introduce to the market, starting with the cybersecurity suite. This is unique, first of its kind, and uncomparable to anything else in the market. There isn't today any provider of a cybersecurity suite that cover and defend the drones or robotic platform against all the multiple different attacks that experience under the threats today. The drones and robotics and autonomous platform experiencing different cybersecurity problem than the entire other markets that we know under cyber. It's not a bank system that assets are known. It's not a cloud solution. Those are distributed elements running in the sky or on the ground, distributed around the globe, and the protection has to be done independently by themselves and overcome any problems and close the cyber risk within seconds. And it's totally different from what we know. Mobilicom identified this clear threat 2.5 years ago and started developing such a suite solution. We also received, as we announced to the market, over $5 million in the development of the solution. And today we have a very comprehensive solution to introduce to the market. We are protecting against threats like communication threats for the platform, cybersecurity threats for the platform itself, and data protection and encryption. This will be a key vector of growth for Mobilicom into the future. Adding to that, we have software tools that are in the market and sold separately to customers. And last but not least, we just recently announced and delivered to the market beta products of our cloud networking server that enables operation with and without infrastructure. Our combo device, which is first of its kind unit that enables drones and robotics manufacturers to operate under cellular networks whenever they are available, and without cellular networks on our direct data link solution and anywhere else, guarantee continuity of mission regardless of the location of an operation of the platforms. And that's unique in the world. That comes with the cloud server services that enable you to control complete assets and fleet over the sky or in the ground and monitor the online as well as the offline operation of your fleet. You can also identify activities and help insurance companies and others protect the assets and monitor the solution. The last but not least block of Mobilicom is the support and ILS packages that are mandatory for platforms that are going to serve for 10, 15 years their customers. And that's recurring annual programs of support and services that enables operators of those platforms to operate worldwide is key element in the value chain. So with this unique 6 packages and baskets of solution enables Mobilicom to be an end-to-end provider, one-stop shop for all the critical components within the system of drones robotics. Together, we can serve up to 40% of the drone system value, and that places Mobilicom in a very unique position. Yes, we do have competitors for different blocks that we are showing over here. There are 4 or 5 other mobile mesh networking developers worldwide, mainly United States. There are different mobile control terminals manufacturers worldwide that compete with Mobilicom. There might be others that providing cloud services. Cyber is yet to be seen because Mobilicom is leading the market with that today. But there isn't any of our competitors that are providing it the end-to-end approach. And that is a very important differentiating factor from Mobilicom. We can start with selling one of the components and enter to the market, it doesn't matter which one, and then upsell and support the customers from all angles. In the next slide, we can see that the drones or robotics operation is very complex one. It's based on drones fixed wing like the upper left corner, or drones with multi-rotors or robotics on the ground. Those are all operating in urban or suburban environment together with controller stations that operate the mission here and here, or different viewers that are using the real-time data in their operation in the mining or in the public safety applications. And it's a very complex solution. You can see that Mobilicom assets and technologies are embedded with each one of the elements of the drone operation. The fact that we are embedded in all angles and all elements give us a unique opportunity to cater for the customers from end-to-end approach. For example, if we are providing the security and cyber protection, the fact that we are building any piece of the solution and the entire system guarantee that we can provide higher security levels than anyone else in the market. And that shows and signifies the Mobilicom position as an end-to-end provider in the market. In thematic investment, as you can see in the next slide, Mobilicom is well positioned. We're looking for exposure for next vision of different technologies and revolutions in the world. Can see Mobilicom as the core holder of such technologies and revolutions. We are embedded in drones, UAVs, unmanned vehicles, robotics on the ground. All of them are serving industrial IoT markets. We are having a portfolio of solutions under cellular and growing to 5G. And we have cybersecurity solution, which is embedded and deployed based on artificial intelligence, AI components. So Mobilicom holding significant assets in all critical revolutions that are occurring today. If we would like to look on Mobilicom targeted market and application, we can identify on the right side that Mobilicom, under Mobilicom's brand name, serving the government and enterprise market, where defense and public safety or homeland security are the key elements for that. And those could be seen under mobilicom.com website. On the left side, we can see Skyhopper, which is Mobilicom commercial and industrial brand name, targeting those market application, as can be seen in the skyhopper.biz market. Out of the 12 different commercial applications in the drones robotics as appear in the market, we are focusing only on the 4 that we have clear differentiation factor thanks to our attributes and advantages over others, and focus on them. Those are mining and process industry, security and surveillance of compounds or operations, infrastructure inspection for long range like utility lines or gas and oil, and delivery services that are done by fleets and swarms. Each one of them is utilizing Mobilicom as competitive edge, where we can claim eventually higher gross margin thanks to the barrier of entry that we have over others in this industry. Let's understand how the go-to-market strategy works for us. We are starting by identifying the drones, robotics, and working with them directly, as they would like to work with a core provider of the critical components and technology components within their platforms. Over there, we are identifying the key leaders of this market and focus on them, what we call the MDC, the $1 million club members that can contribute millions of dollars on a yearly basis to Mobilicom growth. And clearly, as you will see in the next slide, we have a good amount of those customers. Then we are interfacing and started to work with them based on one of our components, doesn't matter which one, as a one-stop shop. As long as they are choosing one that they would like to start with, we are starting integrating and working with them based on that. The fact that they chose us for being a key provider of a key building block, that they are designing the platform around one of our blocks, is critical phase for the growth and strategy. Because this is the stage, while revenue is small, that the most important significant activity, because they chose and start integrating and building the platform around one of our components. Such announcements that we are making in the market are very significant for the future, because they are locking and guarantee the customer under our solution. Much like if you put an engine into a car, the car manufacturer will not likely change it in the years to come. Then we're experiencing growth in our revenue from these customers. Well, when they are starting to sell or receive orders for quantities for deployment of the solution. This is where we see the growth of the Mobilicom revenue going to hundreds of thousands and then millions of dollars. And that is what we expected to see this year and next year. And we already have such customers that are scaling into the millions. Those customers experience the growth and we grow with them. So it's very important to choose the right one, as you will see in our slide. Mobilicom is unique with the next phase in our strategy, because we can upsell additional components. The fact that we already in the customer have champions, already proven ourselves and was chosen, makes our life easier to sell other components which are critical building blocks for the platform. If we started with our communication, you can start using our cybersecurity or start using our control mechanisms and so on. In expansion, we are shifting to additional platform by the same vendor or additional divisions that are providing similar platforms and solutions for drones, robotics, and autonomous. You will identify several customers among our customer base that are showing this growth right now in the expansion stage. They already deliver and sign millions of dollars project with Mobilicom, but right now we are expanding in upsell and expansion into additional platforms and divisions. And last but not least is what the customer expect and get from Mobilicom end-to-end approach. We guarantee to them improved performance thanks to the fact that all elements are from Mobilicom, faster time to market, and higher security clearance, as we are the gateway in all fronts of the product from different components. And we guarantee higher retention rate, because if you have 1, 2, 3 elements within the same drone manufacturer or robotic manufacturer, they are most likely not leave you, and they are very dependent on your cores. You can identify large brand names. Airbus, which is the biggest drones, the biggest aviation manufacturer today. FLIR, a Fortune 500 company that just recently chose Mobilicom communication for its biggest project for the American market. And we are now expanding into additional platforms as well. There are Elbit Systems, Israel Aerospace Industry, and Rafael, which are giants selling billions of dollars worldwide, including drones, robotics, and autonomous platforms. And we are going to scale with them. And in fact, Elbit Systems already scaled to the millions with us. We have other customers, like the Ministry of Defense of Israel, that already using several blocks of Mobilicom and set the reference and bar for others, because if they chose us for our security and other communication and controller platform, everybody else can use us. Sarkos is a well-known brand name of robotics company with unique and science fiction actually platforms. Or Unique is a platform, is a drone manufacturer which is Intel company as well. So we clearly have good brand names, and tens of companies already chose Mobilicom in growing with us. The market is right now happening. Yes, we experienced some delay in the recent 2 years. The market, we had a large portfolio of solutions, but the market wasn't available yet because of different aspects. But now we show the growth, and now we see the growth. Actually, we are starting this year, 2021, and in August, we can clearly share that we have higher revenue levels than the entire 2020 year. That is because of the growth that we are experiencing right now. And this is the time for the drones and robotic revolution under Mobilicom offering. We can see the market scaling into $40 and $50 billion over the next 4 and 5 years. We are focusing on government as the red growth solution, and the commercial as the blue ones, which is ramping up. We are not in the consumer business, which is low margin and not for us. If you choose the entire components from Mobilicom, you can cater up to 40% of the drone system value, which is a very big position within the market and Mobilicom portfolio. The key differentiation and the key changes in the market can be seen in this slide. The defense market is now shifting from deploying drones and robotics in Air Force, which is lower numbers, into the armies. And armies are large magnitude of numbers. Those are small to medium-sized elements of drones and robotics, but the volumes are enormous. And we see a growth coming from this end. The security and cybersecurity for privacy and securities of drone and platform become a critical issue, and Mobilicom is the only one that has a comprehensive suite of solutions that is available in the market today. And first customers will start to deploy and use it very soon. COVID-19 accelerated the market demand on those areas. In the commercial market, the biggest change happened in Europe, where European markets unified the sky and released the regulation for deployment of services of drones or robotics starting from January this year. Here we will see the growth, and Mobilicom is going to utilize its product portfolio and focus also on the European market that opened the sky for the 27 nations that it's built from. We can see the behemoth customers and leaders of the world that investing hundreds of millions of dollars to provide services based on drones or robotics. They are buying drones from the manufacturers that we are working with. Some of them are doing by themselves. All of those giants are fueling the market and pushing it forward. So you clearly see why the market is now, and now it's the time to jump on board the train that is going to accelerate from year to year. From experienced leadership, you can see that Mobilicom is having the right people on the board, both on the Australian side and Israeli side, that scaled company from tens of millions of dollars to billions of dollars in public and traded companies, as well as in private companies. We have experienced leadership as executive management. Sigal led different companies in the NASDAQ. Boaz was the head of manufacturing for different large American corporates that had manufacturing worldwide. And that's what helped us to scale our manufacturing capacity in the Asia Pacific, even during the COVID-19 in 2020, and prepare for the future. Or Laufer, which is our new COO, that was the CEO of robotics company that delivered 60,000 robotics per year, and then was acquired by American giant. So we clearly have the right people and team to scale the company, as right now we are seeing growth in the demand. You can see the recent announcement the company have made with different large corporates and different projects that we win, and you will see more of that coming in the coming weeks as we identify the growth. And as I mentioned, we are ramping up the sales much higher than recent years. To summarize, Mobilicom is an end-to-end provider of cybersecurity and smart components for drones, robotics, and autonomous platform, with unique value proposition that set us apart and create a critical differentiation factor over competitors. And that gives us the opportunity to win the large customers that we already won. It's a patented technology, and the product portfolio that we are having is already certified by different regulators around the world, which give us the opportunity to address the market worldwide, as we did. We already have a large base of customers, including tier 1 providers and the giants of the markets that working with us and shows us, which that is a very important step for our success. And we are working on a large market opportunity that right now, after a short delay, came to the right timing and now is expanding. And we see that with the revenues and backlog that we already have in 2021. So I would like to thank you and shift to the next phase, which is your questions, if you have.
Oren, thanks very much for the presentation. Well, yeah, let's get to those questions. First off, Mobilicom has posted a net loss for the past few years. When do you anticipate it will break even and become cash flow positive?
So Mobilicom believe that we are set to growth, and we see that growth this year. We already showing large growth in our revenue and backlog this year. As I mentioned, we are in March, and we already have higher levels of sales in 2021, which is exceeding the entire year for 2020. And that means that very soon, and probably we believe that in next year, we can show profitability as we choose, if we want to ramp up sell in high growth momentum or into shifting to cash flow positive. But the company is already set for high growth momentum as we're experiencing right now from customers and key providers of this market.
Thanks, Aaron. Now, you mentioned that obviously you're looking at cybersecurity for those drones. How do you maintain your competitive advantage? I think you mentioned there are four or five other players in that market at the moment.
So as I mentioned, in the different segments that we are operating in a different portfolio of products on the hardware pieces, communication and networking, on the devices that are providing the control of the mission, or in the cloud networking solution and cellular communication, we have competitors. And we are different from those competitors by the fact that we are having better performance, the fact that we have customers tier 1 that chose us, and the fact that we have higher security clearance. And this is why government has chose Mobilicom for the sensitive operation. But for the cybersecurity suite, there isn't any matching solution today. In fact, you can compare it to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are the only one that has the cybersecurity as vaccination that can target and solve different 12 different attacks that can occur on drones and robotics. So we are unique in this position, and yet to find any competitor and matching force with a large suite of solutions like we are providing to the market. And that's why government chose that solution and will scale with us based on that.
Oren, how would you describe the drones market at the moment in terms of commercialization? And just as far as that is concerned, you're looking at some of your existing customers perhaps starting to ramp up their orders.
So what we've seen in the recent years that the market has lagged behind and didn't move as we expected to. And although the demand was clear and the technology to some extent was there, like we had numerous products, not as much as we have today, but definitely we had a large portfolio, it didn't happen and didn't scale. And that's because of regulatory bodies. The change and shift that European Union have made by adopting one regulatory decision and standards for the entire European nations, and that enables the scalability of the business. And we see that the fact that the governments are starting to equip the armies, which is large volumes, which is expected, is an additional shift. So on the commercial market, the European market shift, and on the defense and public safety side, the equipment of armies again versus Air Force that was until now will scale the numbers for us. We already seen some of the wins of Mobilicom and contract which we signed of millions of dollars that are coming from one of those elements. And we are focusing on partners like Airbus and others in European Union that will scale the numbers as we speak. And we believe that this is the time, and because the regulatory bodies change their regulation and enable the deployment of such services in mass market. And now it's the time to scale and move with Mobilicom. And we experience that. We see the orders, we see the design wins that we sign, we see the new customers like FLIR that invested $1 billion on buying 5 of the biggest drones and robotics manufacturers in the United States to present themselves as the leader in the market. And the fact that they chose us will show the significant growth that we will do based on that scalability. So yes, it's coming, it's now. And anybody that would like to expose themselves to such investment in the drones robotic revolution, this is the time, and Mobilicom is a great opportunity for that.
Okay, Oren, and you mentioned that strategy there of targeting potential customers. You've actually identified them. So how advanced are you in that strategy?
So we can go and back and see some of the customers that we have and clearly understand where Mobilicom is uniquely positioned. Okay, For example, if you look on LB system, much like the other giants of the defense and homeland security providers from Israel, are the key players and providers worldwide of drones and robotics outside of the United States. They chose Mobilicom for 5 different platforms, 2 fixed wing solutions and 3 multi-rotor drone solutions. And any solution that will be sold in the small to mid-sized market of these elements to armies or homeland security or public safety application will be sold with Mobilicom controller. This was the beginning. And that's a significant order that we received. And we already delivered more than $1 million in revenue for those customers. There is much to deliver during each quarter this year. And you will see that. And the Elbit is already over $1 million of contribution to Mobilicom 2021 in revenue and will scale with us higher. And now we are expanding into additional elements. As I mentioned, we first penetrate with 1 block, and now we are upselling other blocks as an end-to-end provider. You will see soon that Mobilicom is set to win additional platforms of Elbits, but now with the communication, and by that broaden our activity and lock the customer from different angles and different solutions. Clear is another good example. They chose us after competition with 6 other American vendors for our great communication and data link for their biggest project to deliver for the American market. Now, with the help of our champions within the organization, as we excel in the performance, they are now introducing us to the next divisions and solutions that they are having. So the expansion is working for us. And they also are taking not just the communication, starting to check and use our controlling mechanism. So the upsell and expansion is working for us. The Israeli Minister of Defense is a great example for a customer that is using 3 and soon 4 of our building blocks and showing millions of dollars in growth of Mobilicom in the recent years and will continue with that. So every example that you see over here is one or customer that started with at least 1 block and now is upselling and expanding with us for additional blocks of Mobilicom and implementing the end-to-end strategy that we are having. Each one of those brand names could be scalable millions of dollars. Together, they can significantly grow Mobilicom revenue to tens of millions of dollars in the years to come.
Oren, we're out of time. Thanks so much for your presentation, and thanks very much for joining us from Mobilicom.
Thank you very much for being with me.